The restricted section of Isla Nublar, an ever-elusive mystery since 2015's Jurassic World, identified only on maps within the film and its in-universe websites. Prior to the movie's release, speculation ran rampant on just why this part of the island may be off-limits, and if it would play an important role within. However, once audiences saw the film itself, the restricted section remained a mystery. But will it remain a mystery for much longer? There is a huge anticipation for what the second season of Jurassic World Camp Cretaceous might include, and with a new teaser trailer hitting at a return to Main Street and even a scene inside the T-Rex kingdom, we wanted to take a look at what else the campers might be seeing on Isla Nublar. Will the gang make their way to the restricted zone, which sits at the top of the island and houses Mount Sibo? We don't know how long the group will remain on the island before help arrives, so there's every chance they could stumble into this zone and discover secrets that Masrani and Dr. Wu were hiding. Before we jump in, if you like our videos, then please hit the subscribe button below. Just a short disclaimer before we jump in. We use the term restricted zone to refer to all the restricted zones on Isla Nublar during the time that Jurassic World was operating. That's right, there's more than one restricted zone on the island.
All right, you stay out of this.
The most notable is the large region at the north of the island containing the Indominus Rex paddock, Mount Sibo, and Camp Cretaceous. Other areas include the eastern side of the island, home of the raptor paddock, and the ruins of Jurassic Park, deep in the island's interior. As with any film production, not everything matches up, so it is open to interpretation. The Jurassic Outpost team has been tirelessly working to combine and filter this information for you, and very soon it will be ready to share. But for now, enjoy this look at how Camp Cretaceous Season 2 might explore the restricted area of Isla Nublar. So, Season 1 ends with the group making their way back through the wilds of Nublar after realizing they missed the last evacuation ferry. Their first thoughts outside of finding shelter would be to find out if Ben and Bumpy survived, and while we have no doubt the characters will reunite, it might not be the first thing that happens, meaning Ben could be alone for some time, left to fend for himself.
Well done!
We know Ben is alive, and that Bumpy found him. Ben is terrified of the jungle, the darkness, the dinosaurs, and probably his own shadow, so he won't be sticking around there for very long and would likely find some sort of shelter as soon as he can. The teaser shows us the group, minus Ben, encounter dinosaurs on the island and make their way to Jurassic World's Main Street. While Brooklyn, Yasmina, and Sammy avoid a rogue baryonyx, Darius hides from the mother of all Jurassic dinosaurs, the Tyrannosaurus Rex, in her stomping group at the T-Rex kingdom. But what happens after this? If their efforts to find a form of communication to the mainland, or even the evacuation ferry, at Main Street were short-lived, where would the group head next? The Indominus Rex destroyed Camp Cretaceous, but they may head back there to salvage what they can, and perhaps pick up supplies for whatever may come next. We must remember that Yasmina can drive, and Kenji thinks he can drive, so any Jurassic World vehicle can help them travel around the island easier, although it could likely attract more unwanted attention. However, it is probably worth the risk as it makes travel safer and quicker and can really bring the whole island into play. Which brings us to the topic at hand. The north of the island is, according to Jurassic World's map, fenced off entirely from the rest of the island. This zone, known as the restricted area, houses the Indominus Rex paddock from where the hybrid broke free during the Jurassic World incident. This means the zone is no longer fully closed off from the other dinosaurs that are now outside of their enclosures. The group could make their way here, believing a communications outpost or something else might be there waiting for them, but what will they find along the way? We know that Dr. Wu was up to some shady business alongside the Indominus Rex, one of which being displayed on the monitor in his lab, the Stegoceratops, a new hybrid dinosaur originally supposed to be encountered by Owen and Claire during their search for Zack and Gray. This is a cross between Stegosaurus and a Triceratops, and one of Wu's mysterious projects. The deleted scene in Jurassic World tells us this dinosaur had already been bred, so there is every chance the kids could stumble upon it. However, that isn't the only hybrid they may encounter. Early development of Camp Cretaceous didn't only see alternative species choices for Bumpy, but new hybrids as well. Take a look at 6 done up by Ralph Herrera Lamotin. What would happen if the gang encountered a hybrid? Darius would likely have to try and figure out a way to get the group out of trouble, blending his knowledge of the species and theorizing how it may react. Depending on what other DNA had been spliced in, the dinosaur could show aggressive instincts much like the Indominus Rex and could pose an even larger threat, leading to a more terrifying adventure as the gang head deeper into the restricted zone. There is a lot of potential for what could be hiding up north beyond the fence and what secrets Dr. Wu was keeping up there. The north of Nublar is also volcanic. The then dormant Mount Sibo, which erupts in Fallen Kingdom, is located there along with geothermal plants that power the majority of the island. There is a strong possibility that Sibo will play some sort of role, especially given that it's been shown as part of the island in establishing shots, and will soon roar to life. Will the group find a way into the geothermal plant? While we know it exists in film canon, its facilities have yet to actually be seen. As they try to escape the island, seek safety, and/or communicate for help, no building will go unturned, as there is every possibility they would have to make their way into this locale, and maybe even try to restore the power. This could obviously have some sort of effect on the volcano and the island itself, and perhaps them restarting the power could have ripple effects on Mount Sibo, leading to the ultimate eruption that we see 3 years later in Fallen Kingdom. The Velociraptor paddock, where Owen trains Blue, Charlie, Delta, and Echo, is also in the restricted zone, and is relatively close to Camp Cretaceous. Darius, Kenji, and Brooklyn have also visited the paddock and have had their own experience there, so they are very aware of its location and could head here in order to seek shelter or help, despite the past threat of the Velociraptors. We know from Fallen Kingdom that at some point in time, Blue makes her way back into the restricted zone from Main Street and makes her nest in the original Jurassic Park tour vehicle. The gang may encounter Blue, but what about other Velociraptors? Is it possible that InGen and Jurassic World had been breeding multiple species and experimenting with them? Perhaps they captured original Velociraptors from Jurassic Park, much like the T-Rex, and kept them in a separate location in this zone. Now that the power is out, they wouldn't remain there for long and could pose a major threat to the campers. This is, of course, all just theory, and we have no evidence to suggest that the other Velociraptors are on the island aside from Blue. The restricted zone isn't all terror, though. Camp Cretaceous and its activities such as the zipline are all actually housed in the restricted zone and likely sectioned off from more dangerous parts. Likewise, we know other species were kept in the restricted zone just before being unveiled to the public, such as Sinoceratops, Stygimoloch, Allosaurus, and more. Darius even spots the Sinoceratops, making note that it was not publicly revealed. It is also where the park officially likely conducted their main studies on the animals, bred them, treated them, or even quarantined them. Perhaps this is where the gang encounters the Ceratosaurus in Season 2, which was never on any Jurassic World map species list. The restricted zone is essentially the off-limits area of a zoo, where all the real work and care goes, which isn't quite the animals in the wild experience guests ask for, though most of the sector still is teeming with untamed jungle. One caveat, you may be asking if the Ankylosaurus were kept there, and from what we can tell, they were not. They were kept in a smaller zone restricted from gyrosphere access and were likely part of a different individual ride exhibit, which makes sense, as otherwise the Ankylosaurus might be prone to playing golf with guests. While the restricted zone may not be filled with wild velociraptors that InGen couldn't capture from Jurassic Park, its potential for danger is endless, as are its secrets. There are a lot of possibilities as to what the group could encounter and experience on Isla Nublar, and many areas of the island that are still unexplored that could lead to some exciting scenes in the show, and also an expansion on the current lore of the franchise. One way or another, Camp Cretaceous offers the perfect outlet to lift the veil on the restricted zone, and what secrets may lay up north could have long-standing effects on the future of the films as well. What secrets do you believe the restricted zone holds? Let us know in the comments section down below, and if you like this video, then please hit that like button and subscribe to our channel for more Jurassic content. We have now opened up the Jurassic Outpost store, selling Jurassic-themed t-shirts, mugs, masks, more. Check it out for some cool merchandise, and check the description for links to Zavi. If you use Outpost 20 at Checkpost on both the Primal and Festival clothing collections, you get 20% discount off your order. Pretty sweet. And you can use Outpost 10 site-wide for 10% off your order. As always, head to JurassicOutpost.com for more news and information.